Hi everybody, and welcome to this special Yellow webinar where we're all about talking social media today. Social media is one of those things that has been around for many years, but really it's become very much a part of our daily lives. So during this webinar today, which is being streamed on YouTube, you have the opportunity to participate by chatting, and one of our experts is standing by to also join the conversation and answer any questions that you may have. So feel free to get involved as we go through. Now, social media is something that has really exploded, but today we're going to talk specifically about why small businesses should be considering these options. Now, as a small business owner in the past, it used to be quite simple when it came to advertising and marketing for your business. Maybe you had an ad in the Yellow Pages, an open sign, some business cards, and your phone would ring. It was very simple. But today, there are so many different ways in which people can connect with your business. Of course, there are all of the major digital players like Google and Yahoo and Bing, but social platforms have of course emerged like Facebook and even YouTube, which have become very much about how people engage not only with each other but also with content. So today we want to talk about how you as a small business should consider this. Now, one of the things that we consider is how advertising can fall into two very simple categories. We call that passive and active advertising. Now, passive are all the things that you do to create awareness about your business. So traditionally that was things like television, radio, billboards. This was about creating a message of your business, but not everybody that saw you at that time necessarily needed to buy from your or choose your products and services. Now, active on the other hand are the mediums that people use when they're ready to connect. So from a traditional standpoint, that's really the Yellow Pages. There is nothing sexy about the Yellow Pages. People would only turn to it, and still do today, when they actually need a product and service. Of course, that can be other things like digital, but social is starting to really cross over from what we would call passive into an active space. So let's talk about why you as a small business should consider that. Now, the first reason is media consumption. 79% of Australians are now active on social media, and that's an enormous audience. And this has replaced the way we traditionally may have viewed things like television, and it means that we need to be very much aware of the opportunity. Now, for small businesses, only 47% are actually active on social media. So this presents quite an opportunity with such a large audience actively participating there, and yet a small number of business owners are taking advantage of this. So that's what today's all about, helping you uncover those opportunities. Now, another powerful reason to consider that is the way that people will actually respond and trust a business that interacts more positively on social media. So 64% of people report that they're more likely to trust a brand that is interacting positively on social media. So we're going to cover a few tips there as well. But before we get into it with our guest speaker today, I'd like to give you some insights into the 27 Census Social Media Report.
The 2017 Census Social Media Report is here. We're more obsessed with liking, swiping and checking in than ever before. It's the visual platforms that have led the growth in usage this year, driven by our obsessions with our smartphones and ourselves. Almost half of us are now posting selfies, and that number rises amongst young people like myself. People are now happy using social media pretty much anywhere, even when at lunch with family and friends. In fact, for young people, taking a photo of their food has become just as important as eating the food itself. We decided to speak to an expert about what impact this type of behaviour might be having.
Social media is possibly rewiring people's brains, with every like or retweet releasing small doses of dopamine that leave people happy and craving more attention. Anxiety and distress are on the rise among young people, and no doubt social media is having a significant impact as people feel under pressure to compete for attention online. It's also breaking down social norms, with almost 3/4 of young adults now happy to accept friend requests from complete strangers.
It's pretty clear social media is now a part of our daily lives, with people using it first thing in the morning, last thing at night and when on the move. In fact, for young people in particular, it's pretty much unavoidable, so you better get used to it.
So joining us to uncover some more detail about social media is one of our experts, Damien Salter. How are you today?
Very well, Christian. Thank you for having me.
Now, Damien is one of our digital strategy and capability managers here at Yellow. And Damien works with our teams to make sure that we're up to speed, right, with the latest technology and latest advancements when it comes to digital marketing.
Spot on. So my job is to be an expert across all things digital, and that certainly includes social media, as it's a big part of the digital media landscape for small and medium businesses all around the country.
Awesome. So Damien, we're going to talk about how the path to purchase has changed. So for a consumer, the way in which they connect with a small business, I guess the process hasn't changed, but the mediums have. So let's put the funnel up and let's talk through how this journey has evolved.
So if we think traditional advertising, going back 10, 15, 20 years, the funnel was still really applicable. When we want to try and connect with customers, we need to think about where they're at as part of their consumer journey. At the top of the funnel, you have awareness. Traditionally, that may have been things like billboards or even TV, where you're trying to just get a message out to the mass market. As we move further down the funnel, our customer becomes closer and closer to actually completing a purchase and has more intent. Something like the Yellow Pages was a great example of a lower funnel opportunity, because that customer was really interested in a specific product, service or business and ready to buy.
Yeah.
And then right at the bottom, we have those repeat customers where we're trying to build loyalty and build a relationship to ensure they keep coming back.
Okay. Now, social is one of those platforms, right, that has emerged in such a fast way that it's really crossing over, isn't it? So
yeah.
It was very much about creating awareness and engagement, but all of a sudden there's some real opportunity for small businesses to actually get leads and almost immediate conversion.
That's right. One of the great things about social media is that instead of a customer needing days or weeks to go through that funnel, they could potentially go through it in a matter of minutes. From becoming aware of your business all the way through to completing a purchase and becoming an advocate for your brand, it can be almost immediate.
Yeah.
If you've got a great digital experience for your consumer, it really goes to provide a repeat business and drive extra value out of any sort of social media presence that you might have.
Okay. So a business out there might have a presence, and a little known fact may be just how far the reach is, right? So one of the things that we know about social media, and there's lots of independent reports, but only about 2.6% of people will actually see a post organically, right?
That's right. So business pages or like pages have been around for about 10 years now. And when they first came along, they were treated almost the same as what a personal profile was. But over time, Facebook have started to remove more and more branded content from our consumer feeds. That's to give them the most relevant information that they possibly can. And now, as you said, organic reach for any business on average sits around the 2% mark. So you're really limited. If you have 100 customers that have followed your brand, only 2 of them are actually seeing any particular organic post that you're putting out there.
So to put this into perspective, the average Australian may have a couple of hundred people connected to them on Facebook. But if you think about your own experience, you're probably seeing the same sorts of people more often. And that's because of those algorithms, right?
That's
so
right.
They're more likely to serve up content that they believe is popular. And if you go looking for those friends that are connected to you that you haven't seen for a while, you'll see that they are still posting.
Yeah.
It's just that the algorithm has determined that it's not relevant.
That's right. We have so much information that could come into our feed. Facebook are trying to serve up the items which are most relevant to what we want to see, so that we keep coming back to it as a platform.
Okay.
And to do that, they're excluding a whole bunch of content from people that you've connected with or followed. As an example, Yellow as a business do quite a bit of posting in social media, but we don't do anything without having some money behind it as a sponsored post to ensure that it gets out to the market that we want it to get out to.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a bit more detail,
Yeah.
right? How do you cut through and make sure you maximise the opportunity? Let's talk a little about platforms, right?
Yes.
So social has been around for some time. Facebook is 12, so it's basically a teenager now. But the other platforms are growing at a rapid rate. So let's talk through those.
Certainly. So within the Australian market, Facebook is undoubtedly still the king. There's no if, whats or buts about that. It simply is. They're still growing as well, which is quite surprising considering their platform is quite mature. The big surprises for us and the big movers in the market, if you will, are Instagram and Snapchat. Instagram obviously now owned by Facebook. So it's a great opportunity to utilize potentially one platform to reach two different audiences.
Yes.
So almost doubling your effectiveness. And the content which businesses and individuals post on Instagram is typically more engaging than other social media platforms.
All right. So if I'm a small business owner, I need to consider the right platform. So
That's
a
it.
part of this is the consideration.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about a few different advertising methods that people can use. So let's talk about that and how it also applies to the funnel, right? And who you might be influencing and at what stage of the journey. So the first one is local awareness ads. Talk us through these, Damien.
So local awareness ads, it's all in the name. They're very much about focusing on your local customer within a predefined area that is you define as the most important area for you. You may have noticed these type of ads in your social media feed previously. The main call to action is typically asking you to visit their bricks and mortar location. So great for driving foot traffic. Ideal for those businesses like restaurants and hospitality who are looking to drive people in to eat their food.
Yeah.
Or if you have a retail store that is primarily bricks and mortar and you want people to actually come to you.
So fantastic for businesses that have a transient sort of consumer base.
That's
so
it.
tourism, absolutely. And certainly if you're a business that needs a constant top up, right?
That's right. And also ideal for any business who operates in a fixed geographic area, if you will. If you're a tradesperson and you work within your local town or suburb mainly, local awareness ads are great to be able to get your name out there, similar to what you might have with your sign on the side of your ute.
Okay. Now the next one is the clicks to website ads. So these have been around for a while. This is probably the way Facebook advertising started, right?
Yeah, very much so. So click to website ads are probably the oldest type of Facebook ad that we deal with. They're ideal for those businesses whose purchasing journey for their consumers is maybe a little bit longer and requires a bit more research. Any purchasing journey which has a higher value spend or has more detail, and your consumer's actually going to want to end up on your website and read more about what you do.
Okay. Also ideal for targeting very specific things though, right?
That's
so
right.
if you're a business that wants to focus on a particular product or a particular revenue stream, you could use these ads to take people directly to the landing page that's most relevant.
That's it. If you have multiple different products or multiple different value propositions for your consumers, click to website ads are great because they allow you to get your consumer straight to where they need to be to see the right type of messaging.
Okay. Now, Facebook has done a really great job of, I guess, shrinking the time people spend in the purchasing cycle, right? And the next one that we're going to talk about is, it's fairly new, but it's something that's very scalable now, right?
Yeah.
And that's the lead generation ads.
That's right. So lead generation ads, the big difference being that you don't need to leave the Facebook ecosystem as a consumer to submit your details to a business. So lead generation ads are ideal for those types of businesses who are looking to first and foremost capture their customer details, whether that be to market to them directly through an outbound sales call or add them to an email or newsletter list to establish an ongoing relationship. It's quick and easy for the consumer to provide the details, and it's seamless because they still stay within Facebook, but it's great for those customers who want to have a conversation with a potential business.
Yeah. Now, Damien, there's a bit of a saying in marketing, right? That if something's free, you're the product being sold. I'll say that again. If something's free, you're the product being sold. Now, when you think about social, and in particular Facebook, most Australians have set up a page, but of course they never paid for it. So you've got a personal profile and you're feeding that with a ton of information about who you are, what your hobbies are, your likes, your interests, your relationship statuses. And for a savvy business owner and somebody that's working with the right type of partner, you can then use this information to target people, right, and consumers.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the most powerful aspect of Facebook or any sort of social media advertising. As a business, you can go right to the consumers that matter to you the most.
Yeah.
If you're a removalist company, you might be able to target those who have been looking at buying or renting a house.
Yes.
Or looking at interstate removals.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to go straight to the source, if you will,
Yep.
and cut out some of that noise. And as consumers, we like it when we get relevant advertising.
Yeah.
It makes our lives easier, most consumers understand that advertising is a part of their daily lives, and they just want the most relevant advertising they can get. So it provides that in a place which is which people go recreationally as well.
Yeah.
So they're willing to go there, they're willing to engage, but it's highly targeted to their needs.
Yeah, for sure. A few years ago, I used to own a photo booth business, and Facebook was definitely one of the ways that we were able to take advantage of making sure that our advertising spend really reached the audience that was most applicable. And I guess that's the power of Facebook, right, is being able to, and in our example, we were able to target women who had just become engaged that lived within 20 kilometres of our house. And there's no other form of media that you can become that restricted, right?
Correct. And that really goes to then turbocharge that return on investment that any business can see from a well-executed social media advertising campaign.
Yeah, so you can see how that lead generation ad in front of the right type of consumer can absolutely accelerate the buying journey.
Definitely.
Now, the fourth and final type of advertising is probably where Facebook started, right? And it was all about generating likes to follow your page. So these are the page like ads. What are they all about?
So page like ads are an interesting proposition in this day and age. As we talked about earlier, with only 2% of your organic customers seeing anything you post, they potentially have less value than what they have in the past. So really, we only recommend page like ads for a business who have a specific goal to increase their social media following for a defined purpose.
Okay. All right, so we've covered off the four most prominent types of advertising and why you should consider these for your business. Let's take a look at a video now that gives us some insights into perhaps what we shouldn't do.
Correct.
Forget about connecting with customers online and buying social media ads. If you really want your florist to be liked, then what you need is a store greeter. A baby store greeter. Go.
Welcome to Birchmore Florist.
Oh, aren't you just so cute? I'll have every flower you've got. And that's how you get to be liked.
Okay, so Damien, let's get into the nitty gritty now of why somebody should actually consider the Yellow Social Ads product.
Certainly.
So Damien, the first one is that they're highly targeted.
That's right. As we've talked about, social media offers a unique opportunity for businesses to put their ads in front of the consumers that matter the most to them.
Okay, so it's our people that set this apart, right? So we have specialised account managers that will set up and manage the program.
That's right. So that's all they do. They set the program up, including the targeting, the demographics, the age groups, the locations that are going to be most valuable to a business. But they also help businesses by writing the copy for the ads, helping them select the right images and the headlines. And in short, they're social media experts.
Okay.
That's all they do. They designed advertising campaigns that work.
Now, one of the things that really sets us apart is not just that we have great people, but it's how the people interact with amazing technology that makes it more efficient. So we'll look at another slide now. So there's 4 different objectives that we tend to work with, and they're the ad types that we've described before.
That's right. So the local awareness ads, the click-to-website ads, the lead generation ads, and the page-like ads.
Okay. Now, when somebody purchases the product, the first thing that a customer would go through is the onboarding journey.
Correct.
What makes that simple for our consumers, our customers?
So as we've talked about already, there's 2 sides to the social media advertising platform. First and foremost, there's the technology. So there's a really user-friendly portal that an advertiser can go and upload all of the artwork assets that we need to in order to execute the program correctly. So photos and copy and all that sort of stuff which goes into any sort of advertising. But in addition to that, the campaign managers will consult with all the businesses out there to work with them to figure out who are the most valuable customers, where are they located, how old are they, what other interests do they share, and how can we get this social media program to be as effective and drive the best ROI that it possibly can.
Now, those campaign managers, all they do is social, right?
Correct.
So they live and breathe this on a daily basis. And it's the technology that then sets them up for success. So I guess one of the buzzwords this year and has certainly been machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about the machine learning that's built into the system and how do the campaign managers then use that to maximise the opportunity for a small business owner?
Yeah, so the technology platform which we utilise is quite amazing, and it actually uses variations of ads, what we call ABC testing, to put different ads out there and measure how effective each one is
Yes.
at engaging with the audience.
Okay.
This then allows us to take the piece of ad that was so effective and carry it forward into each subsequent advertising campaign. The end result is that a business's social media advertising campaign is always improving over time. It's never standing still. It's getting better and better and better, and driving more engagement with the user base and more ROI.
Okay, and of course it's very much about performance, right? So at the end of the day, we've got live platforms and dashboards that the business owners and the campaign managers can log into to see how things are performing.
That's right. With any advertising, it should be really transparent about what it's doing for you as a business and how it's engaging with the audience that you're looking to target. And the live and dynamic reporting which we provide to all the businesses out there ensures that they have full visibility at all times about what's going on.
Okay, let's take a look at a few ad examples. So we're going to pop up on the screen now, Royal Plumbing and Gas. This business is running a campaign around clicks to websites. So I can see a few different ad variations on the screen, but I notice there's Instagram there as well, Damien.
That's right. So as we talked about earlier, Facebook purchased Instagram some time ago. So it's almost a two-in-one when we talk about an advertising platform, but you get two different audiences in the one place. Instagram's great to be able to engage with those consumers in a visual way. And in this instance, the business is really looking to get the consumer to read more about their product offering and why it might be different and beneficial to them.
Okay, and there's a really strong call to action in that example, right? Where they're talking about $1,100 in rebates, and it's obviously going to take them to a very specific point on a website to learn more.
Spot on.
Okay, let's pop the next one up, which is Dial a Plumber. So we're looking at plumbing examples in today's webinar. So we've got Dial a Plumber here. They're also running a click to website campaign, but some different sort of features are being used, right? A little bit more generic.
That's right. So in this instance, we're really looking at that awareness and trying to make sure that the people in our local market understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and who we are.
Okay, so two good examples there, right? One is very specific, a call to action on a very specific product and service. And then in this example, they're using social media to create awareness for their business.
That's right.
Okay, let's take a look at another one. I think this one is quite interesting. So this is now looking at the machine-based learning coming into play. So they're using clicks to website, and they've got a few different images there, but this is a variation campaign, right?
That's right. So in this instance, you can see that the business is looking to attract a specific type of customer for leak detection.
Yes.
And the image is highly specified to that objective, which really, I guess, leads us through to the next aspect of the social media campaign that we've talked about a moment ago, and that's the reporting.
Okay.
And we'll actually be able to have a look at how the different ads are achieving some of the different goals.
Okay. I mentioned variation before, and what I meant by that was that we are actually using the image variant as the ABC testing for
That's
this
right,
campaign.
yeah.
So we'll put that on the screen now, and it's actually impossible to see it on the screen, but what is being tested here is 3 different images to see which is performing best. And it's this sort of strange leak detection photo that is outperforming by quite some way.
Yeah, so all of the other details in the ad are exactly the same. The text copy, the headline, the name at the top, everything's exactly the same. But the 3 differences and the 3 different ads that we have out there are 3 different images. And you may be able to see it on the screen, but the image that we've showed you on the previous slide with the leak detection is actually getting 80% of the total engagement when we look at this particular ad set.
Yes.
And it's far outperforming all of the others. Really interesting because we may not have thought that as a business or as marketers going in, but it's one of the advantages that our technology platform offers is the ability to really look at real-time, real customer engagement level data.
Okay. And then it takes all of that data and it further optimizes, right? So you can see on the example of and that's an example of the dashboard, you can see things like the hourly impressions, the demographics that we're working towards, and even the age groups and the genders, right? So you can actually start to optimize a program to a very specific audience that might match the business's goal more closely.
That's correct. Well, I talked about transparency before. So a business owner here can see that their ads are being served to the people that are most likely to purchase their product or service, whether
Yes.
it be age group, gender, time of day, et cetera, et cetera. In addition, they can also see some of the performance metrics. So the click-through rate, which is a measure of how engaged people are with the ads which are being served to them, and also the actual traffic that it's created through to their website.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, small businesses need to make sure that they're getting a return on investment, right? That's why the transparency is important.
So if you combine a great call to action with your social media advertising and a really good point of difference to make up an outstanding value proposition, we know that social media can drive ROI for small and medium businesses.
Okay, let's just touch on search engine marketing for an example, Damien, because social media is something that can cross over, it can create awareness, but it can also drive leads today. So how does the cost of running a social campaign compare with pay-per-click or Google AdWords or the yellow search marketing product?
Certainly. So it's going to be different for every single business, obviously, Christian. Search advertising is unique to location and demand. However, for example, a search for something like Plumber Sydney has traditionally been really expensive. A couple of years ago, it topped out at around the $80 per single click.
Yes.
In social media, we generally find a substantially cheaper cost per click and cost per customer acquisition than what we do within Google. It's a different type of customer, and both Google and social media are really important parts of any ideal advertising mix, but it can offer outstanding value for small businesses out there when they're looking to connect with their ideal audience.
Yeah, great. All right, well, thank you for joining us, Damien. I think that's given us something to think about. And of course, the audience is the big opportunity here, right? With over 80% of Australians now active on social media and only 47% of small businesses there, it does mean there's an opportunity for people to consider it as a part of their advertising mix today and to make sure they're taking advantage of these opportunities. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat feeds here on YouTube, and we'll respond to those as we go through. But of course, speak to one of our experts in either our call centre in Melbourne or of course your media sales advisor, who may actually be sitting with you right now watching this webinar. So thank you for joining us today. We'll see you again next time. Thank you.